Welcome to Sunday Subscriber Hangout. We're gonna talk about why we can't breathe here in California, and I'm not even joking. We're gonna talk about what happened this week. We're gonna talk about what's coming up next week, which is San Francisco International Auto Show, and then after that, the big one, the LA Auto Show, and the Media Days, which is the LA Automobility. And of course, I'll take questions and comments from you guys in the chat. I got my Blue Man Group teacup here with some tea with honey, so my voice doesn't crap out, at least sooner rather than later. Got my cough drop, so I think I'm ready to go. All of this is coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric.
Welcome to your number one source of unbiased electric car news. I can't believe I have to say unbiased because electric car news should be unbiased in the first place, but nevertheless, and of course, if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything moving forward. This is, we're just hanging out. There's no agenda per se. I may not be able to do it next couple of weeks, so this might be it for a while. Of course, I still do 2-3 videos a day throughout the week. I actually put out the video yesterday, which didn't really get a great response. I mean, I got a great response, not a positive response, because I was talking how Volkswagen Group is really going to be what Samsung is to Apple, right? As far as cell phones are concerned, sort of the bigger competitor, because they're running away from Dieselgate so fast. They're essentially outrunning all of their other legacy manufacturer competition, but man, people are still really hate them. So I was actually not expecting that type of result from that. Sebastian says, love your channel. Never thought someone could love electric cars as much as me. Thank you first of all, but I think a lot of people in this community love electric cars as much as you and me. And I think there will be more and more people. And I think there will be different reasons why. I think we all kind of started with environment. We started with oil independence and all of that stuff. But I think now people are having, more and more reasons to love it. I mean, some just feel like it's a good deal with all of the incentives, and especially in other countries, the incentives are pretty cool. And some of them love because of technology. A lot of electric cars have self-driving technologies that are emerging. Some of electric cars are just really fast and really quiet and really a lot of other things. So I think there will be more and more reasons why. And of course, there are now companies are working on electric planes. I think, was it Dubai? I think, was it Dubai, where they literally have cops on a vertical takeoff individual helicopters or quadrocopters that they call. Like, I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, the electric technology is going to be applied more and more and more. I mean, obviously, semi-trucks is kind of a first step in terms of being sort of very commercialized, commercially used. There you go. I think I thought of the right big word. Yeah, Dubai flying cop blender, says Wikas. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, there will be a lot of interesting technology. I mean, even if you think about even the lawnmowers are electric, and I think a lot of people really enjoy it because it doesn't wake up your kids and your cat and the entire neighborhood when you just want to take care of your lawn, right? Doesn't smell up. You don't have to wear a mask. Speaking of masks, by the way, that's why I was going to start the show. You guys, you will not believe how bad it is here in California. And I mean, the entire California, the air. So okay. So let me just update you. We have a couple of fires that basically got out of control, and because of the winds and because of how dry everything is after our summers that are getting really hot, it spread. It took out a bunch of cities, and the biggest one is Paradise, California. Well, actually, I think it's the only city in its entirety that it ate. But because of how much smoke it produced, basically the smoke right now is covering the entire California. But it's so bad that it's really almost have you ever gotten up in the morning and it was really heavy fog where you can't really see that much, 2 houses past you? That's how bad it was 2-3 days ago. It's still pretty bad. But 2 3 days ago was really people walking in masks, and I really thought that it was good. Staying indoors was pretty much recommended, and I stayed. You're kind of like a prisoner in your own home. No, I mean, yes, people lost their homes. They were displaced. All of our hotels are full of refugees, like refugees from 2 hours away, because they all lost their homes. So it is insane. And of course, this is something we can talk about in context of global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it. Now, yes, on the other side, people are saying, well, our forests are not taken care of correctly. Well, I think that's BS. I mean, I think that there is something to be said about that. I think we have a bigger problem than that. Of course, California, being one of the richest areas in the world, somehow we don't have an alert system, neither for fires nor for earthquakes. And I believe even Mexico, which technically is considered second or third world country, has an earthquake warning. And I think just recently they ended up saving tons of lives by warning everybody and having everybody come out, and they, once the earthquake hit, most of the buildings that came down didn't have any people in it. No, we don't have it here in California. Funhog 911 says no smoke in Truckee. Well, so air quality improved in the last couple of days here in Sacramento area. And the smog is now in the kind of in the Bay Area. And don't forget, we have a Northern California fire and a Southern California fire, and it's kind of like, those two clouds of crap. And don't forget, it's not just smoke, right? It's not just burned wood. It's burned chemicals. It just burned plastic. So all of this really just bad, horrible crap that's also been burned on top of that is what we're breathing. And it's not like for a couple of minutes or an hour or a day. This has been happening for a week. And so it was okay staying indoors, staying inside the car was okay. But what is it? Well, on Friday, I felt like it was starting to sip through, and I started to feel smoke in my bedroom. And that's where I was like, I better start thinking about moving out for few days, a week, however long it's going to take care of this, because you can develop some major I mean, people who are already predisposed for this, they can have heart attacks and strokes and all that stuff. But even healthy people, you could feel your lungs to be heavy. And I can't believe I'm even talking about it. Like we're in California, it's 2018. Man, I just can't believe it. So I decided, okay, let me just give it one more day, because the forecast was like, okay, the air should start clearing up. And I mean, we're all the way to hazardous level, right? Hazardous level. On Friday, we were the most polluted city in the world. Like you go around the world, you check all the air quality everywhere, including Shanghai and Beijing and whatever other countries that have, like LA, right? We're by far with the worst, and the levels went all the way to hazardous. Um, uh, well, it says be safe, wear a mask. Well, that's the thing. There's only one type of a mask, N95, as I found out, that's actually will even help. Other masks, I actually, like, people don't know that they're bad for you, because they get all the particles through the mask. But if, except for you start trapping your own CO2, and you have to breathe it a little harder or a lot harder, and you end up inhaling more and more of those chemicals that are going through the mask anyway. Um, I tried going and buying air purifier just so maybe my room is all right. They completely sold out. There's absolutely no plan of like shipping them overnight. I was like, I'll pay an extra $100 freaking just for the shipping cost. Nope, not Amazon. I tried calling like Best Buys and Fry's Electronics in other states, and they're like, no, we're not gonna do it. And I'm like thinking like, okay, well, first of all, at least take an opportunity and make some money. I mean, it sucks that you'll be making money on someone's disaster and health, but okay, I don't even care. But why wouldn't you guys? You know how many air purifiers here people are willing to buy right now for their kids, for their elderlies? Like tons. They'll pay double and triple of the price. And no, nobody wants to ship it. There's really no communication, really, if you think about it, throughout, by our city government and our state government about like, do we stay? Do we go? How dangerous it is? Like, for example, I wanted to know, well, how dangerous is it? Like, at some point they were saying, well, staying here and breathing the air for one day is equivalent to 11 cigarettes. And I'm thinking, okay, well, people smoke a pack a day and they live, to be still a relatively decent age. So this is not bad, even if we do it for a week. So we all smoked a couple of packs of cigarettes. Oh well, like that's not too bad for me. But I wanted some perspective, and you watch the local news, and they give you some of the information, but not really the one that you really want. Sebastian says, my dad is a firefighter, and I was sent to California to try and fix the wildfire issues. Shows how crazy everything is since he's from Texas. Yeah, like they'll ship the firefighters from Texas, but not the air purifiers. That's where they draw the line, which is amazingly amazing. Yes, some plants are really great at purifying air, and I was thinking about buying one, but like I don't want to buy a bunch of plants and then basically not take care of them past, once this ordeal is over in another week or two, hopefully. Um, so I didn't want to do that. And again, I felt like I was still okay. Like I wasn't even coughing. Like some people are getting headaches and all of that stuff. I wasn't really getting that bad. So I was thinking about, okay, one more day. If I'm gonna continuously breathing it even inside of my house, I'm just gonna leave, guys. I'm just gonna like I'll do my shows from my cell phone, which I probably gonna do anyway when I'm at the LA Auto Show, right? And CES and so forth. But I was like, but I gotta go. Like I'll probably just go to. At first I was gonna go to the Bay Area, right? My parents live there. A lot of my friends would let me stay. And I realized the air there is just as bad. Just maybe one grade better, but almost not worth going. And so then I'm thinking like, well, maybe I'll go to Nevada. So just Reno, Nevada, near the Gigafactory, I think. It's the air is good, and I can go and stay there for a little bit, or maybe Mexico. Right now I think the flights are relatively cheap, and you can stay there for a week or so. Not sure if the internet would be good enough for me to do my broadcast, but this was a health hazard. I mean, I can't even believe I'm talking about, like, seriously, like I I just can't believe this. It's just so fast our lives can be turned upside down by something that we have no control over it. And I'm also like I am pretty pre I'm a plan B guy. Like I'm always prepared, right? Like I have like a backpack under my bed for the earthquake. I have all kinds of insurances. I have all kinds of preparation for everything. But I didn't have it for this. Like I couldn't even think that I would need to worry about the air I breathe. So obviously, like once this is over, I'm gonna get a air purifier. I'm gonna get a few filters that you would put in your fans here in your home. I'm sure mine's dirty already. I'll buy a bunch of masks and maybe even like the military grade style, right? Um, I just can't believe this. It is ridiculous. I mean, we're still not over this. I mean, it's the fire is only maybe 50 or 60% contained, and it is been getting. I'm telling you, a bunch of people died. There's about 1,000 people missing. I mean, they show this drone footage, and as they fly over the city, again, it's ironic that the name is Paradise, over the city of Paradise, and it's like seriously, it's like a nuclear war just happened and just completely flattened everything. So let's see. There was a question about what do you think about Dyson air purifier? I think it's very expensive. I think the only one that was available anywhere in this area when I checked up like on this 2 or 3 days ago was like the most expensive Dyson air purifier for like $600. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not dying yet. I'm bored 200. It says this. I ordered a few days ago. It should be here on Wednesday. Yeah, well, if I would have ordered any air purifier, it would have been here on Wednesday. But by Wednesday, our air should be almost back to normal, at least from the maps I'm seeing. Even right now, I'm already on the border of at least a relatively clean air, where it's only hazardous for people with like pre-existing conditions or like lung issues. So in another day, it should be fine, at least from what I understand, because the fire is not is kind of contained now, and the air coming from the inland towards the ocean is pushing all of this into the ocean, and God knows what's going to happen to the ocean where all this crap falls in there with fish and oh man. Um, Leave town if you can, man. Not worth the health hit. Well, so I don't believe my health was ever in danger. So that's why I thought it was borderline. Like I was like, well, I can breathe this for about a day, and I really stayed indoors. I didn't go out anywhere, so I was like, I'm okay here indoors. And like I knew my bedroom was a little bit more smokier than my living room. I kept the temperature down so it's not as hot. So I felt like that was okay. And the next day you could just like I woke up and there was no smoke. So I felt like it was okay. I already in my mind I was like if I wake up and it's smoky again, like in my bedroom, I'm gonna just jump into my vault and I'm just gonna go to the Bay Area or Reno, or I'm gonna find a ticket to Mexico and then we'll see. But even at that time, they were already trying to figure out how like things were already starting to get better. At least it looked that way. By the way, let me know where you guys are watching from. I see a Brian from Pennsylvania, Kiara from Scotland, UK. Awesome. I'm board 200 is in Nevada. She says I live in Napa. I can't even read. Maybe smoke is affecting my brain. I'm board 200 says no. There were a bunch of devastating fires in Nevada. I think if not earlier this year, it was last year. Also wiped out half of the town. It's crazy what's happening here. Yeah, last year fires are hard to breathe for me as well. He says. Um, Scott is from Texas. Steve Mustang 516 New York. George from Canada. Kansas City is Michael's from Kansas City. Kimberly from Denver. I see a lot of Patreons, by the way. Thank you for watching, guys. Just like I said, I may not be able to do this for the next couple of weeks, so just FYI, I'm not going to schedule next one. Um, yeah, so this has been, oh man, this has been such a weird, it's just weird to be in the news, right? Because we're in the news, like we're in the news all over the world. I mean, I think if you watch like any kind of a news station, 24/7 news, cable news channel, they cover this as almost number one story. I think CNN had it number one story. Sebastian is from Florida. You guys got your own natural disaster issues there. Um, Vicus, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Vancouver. Thomas from Ontario, Canada. That's very, very cool, guys. It looks like North America mainly because of the timing, right? Vienna. Henry, how are you? Hi from Vienna. Awesome. All right. So, yeah, guys, I'm speechless because I really just never. Oh, Uruguay. Nice. Andres. Um, I'm just speechless to just be here. And like, and you would think like Sacramento, California, like what can possibly go wrong here? Like we're not even like on the map technically. Yeah, we're the capital of California, which most people don't know, but it's such a kind of a quiet town. So and let me know, guys. I know you're watching from even different countries and stuff like that. Let me know if you've seen that on the news. Are we on the news where you're at? Especially like Andres, you're in the Uruguay, right? Well, Jane, you're Los Angeles. You got your own fire over there. Um, okay, so Stephen, you're from Dublin, Ireland. Is are we on the news there? Is our fires on the news? By the way, I mean, I know like Trump and everybody else was kind of trying to blame California for not taking of our forests, which is just a way to kind of change subject, I think, from climate change. But we do, like at the same time, we do need to look at what we're doing with our forests because okay, so we can't just be yelling fire literally all the time, like oh climate change, climate change. Okay, well let's do something about it, right? If we need to maybe take care of our forests in a different manner, then let's do that. And again, we have enough money. We should have enough money to be able to have an alert system, right? So I'm like, it's not even that hard, right? I mean, they're heat sensors. You plant a bunch of heat sensors around the areas, especially when they where all the forests are and areas where it burns. Just plant it all over the place. And obviously, when you see the temperature rise beyond a certain temperature, you go like, wait a second, something's wrong. And then, of course, we need to have a emergency broadcasting system. And I mean, now it got better because all of our phones actually would ring, even if they like have a ringer off. But TV sets and stuff like that. But like, what about like good old fashioned speakers, like loudspeakers that would just blast a siren, World War II style for crying out loud? Because like old people are not gonna say, oh, what does my iPhone say, right? The old people are the ones who die in these fires and stuff like that. We just need maybe just a thing that will blast like get out of bed and get the hell out of here kind of a thing, right? Also, we're not prepared to evacuate people, right? There's got to be some evacuation. So and I mean, and the thing is, it's not like it's the first time it happened in the world or in the United States. We're just so unprepared, man. it's just so you show where. So Andres from Uruguay, and it says we're on the news over there, right? So this is a world news. Um, Thin and slash fuel brakes do not cost anything. The cleared material pays for the cutting and removal, says Scott. Robert M says, do you think solar panels would help battery degradation in electric cars when they sit for long hours? You mean solar panels in the car? Well, actually, it doesn't even matter. Battery degradation has nothing to do with where the energy comes from, where they get charged, right? It's basically the quality of chemicals essentially, um, and their ability to store and release energy just goes down, and that's what battery degradation is. A lot of times, it's when the battery is operating under a lot of heat. This is why like thermal management systems are so important, right? This is why Nissan Leaf had issues with battery degradation for years. Only starting next year, they will have the LG Cam batteries and the thermal cooling system built in. So those batteries should last, a bit longer, much longer actually. Is he talking about phantom drain, says Mark? I don't know, so please clarify. PB78234 says this is not what they're talking about. The issue is cutting down trees to lessen the fire hazard and make a profit from cutting down trees, but people are resistant to cutting down trees. Okay, first, alert system. That's just first and foremost, right? We need to know, like, people cannot just wake up in the middle of the night on fire. Like, that is third world country BS. We have to figure out how we can do that and prevent that from happening, because that still happens. So first and foremost. Secondly, we need to figure out how to make sure to contain these fires, right? So for example, we used to build ships that were just one big boat, Titanic style, right? When the iceberg hits and the whole thing goes down. But we got smarter, so we have compartments, right? So if there's a hole in one part of the ship, that compartment fills up, but the entire ship is still intact. So ships don't go down that easily. You have to really really damage the hell out of it. I mean, you put a torpedo in the ships nowadays, and they're like, okay, we'll make it to the port, no problem. So it's like, let's do that with fires. If we know we have sections of the forest or whatever, especially that are bordering the neighborhoods, well, let's dig stuff up. Let's figure out how we can prevent. Let's put the sprinklers in there. I mean, I'm obviously joking, but you know what I mean. Like, let's put a system where there's a fire, we can somehow activate this some sort of a protective invisible wall where the fire just can't get through, because it looks like just the fire walked its way through the cities, the forest, and cities and forests again, one house to another. Like, there's just absolutely no prevention system, and I just feel like we're better than that. We have the money. So let's see. PB78234 says, I think the smoke clouds are a good alert. No, they're not, man. They're not. Someone already went up into that smoke, right? The smoke started because this fire started to burn, and a lot of people realized that they can't get out because the fire moved so fast, and there was no alert system. Still isn't no alert system. So no, and we're not ready. And there's just so many other things we can do. I'm gonna get a cough drop. But we're not doing. If we were really poor here, then I can understand, food over this. But we're a very rich state. We're with a very good budget. There's just no excuse for us not to do it. And don't forget earthquakes. Same thing with an earthquake. They can hit us at any day, and we don't have an alert system for that either. Just unbelievable. I just don't even have any words how we're not able to do that. Robert M clarifies solar cars versus electric cars, which is better. I mean, there's no such thing as solar cars, and if there will ever be, those solar panels will essentially store the energy in batteries, you know, so they will never run directly from the converted electricity from the solar cells, because what if it's a nighttime, for example. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to catch up on some comments. Sean S. Says, what do you think about Volkswagen going to produce 50 million EVs by 2025? He misspoke, apparently. He meant 15 million, 1 5. So he corrected himself. That's the CEO of Volkswagen. I just did the video on it yesterday. My last video before this one on my channel is about how Volkswagen Group is probably going to be the leader along the legacy manufacturers as far as a competitor to Tesla, and just in generally making electric cars. Again, I was surprised how negative the comments were, and I know there were, overall in the grand scheme of things, I think 6 or 7,000 people watched that video. Maybe it's 20 negative comments. I'm surprised how unforgiving people. And listen, it's unforgivable to have the Dieselgate and the animal testing, but I think we also have to understand that that company had changed the guard. The guard has changed, and the new one is actually the new CEO, Herbert Dice, I believe, or Dice, however you pronounce it. I mean, the fact that he was talking about how they go in the electrical way with all this, pretty much with most of their business, like 99% of it coming from diesel and gas powered cars, that's pretty ballsy. And it tells you that they really mean it, and that they're sacrificing their future revenues in the next few years to invest, look, what, $50 billion into this. And I believe they already committed $48 billion into the battery contracts. And this is why I know it's serious. Anyway, you guys can watch the entire video. Again, I think Volkswagen Group is definitely on the right track. And some people don't know it, but e-tron, Audi e-tron, Audi is one of the Volkswagen Group companies. It's already in production. It's already in production. They're already doing it because some of the comments were, well, I believe it when I see it. Well, you better believe it, because e-tron is in production right now. Vika says, we have the tech to make firefighter drones, something the size of a Syker Sky Crane could get to fire fast and work 24/7. Yeah, I mean, autonomous drones that can monitor and control fires, that would be nice. I've seen other YouTubers playing hide and seek with the fires. What do you mean? Like they had to relocate? Is that what you're talking about? Richard says, I personally would like to see a Volkswagen come clean and make some decent EV transport with decent range and realistic average consumer-friendly price. Well, it's coming. They said in 2 years they're promising all-electric EV with over 200-mile range at around 23,000 American dollars. Everything but the price tag is coming literally in the next few months from Audi, which is the e-tron. I'm one of the first reservation owners for that car, for that SUV in North America. So so I'm excited about it. And I think in many ways in some ways it's better than Tesla's. Not all, actually. I think Tesla's overall better, but the reason I'm switching is not because of the car itself. I think it's just because of my poor experience with ownership experience in the last 6 years, and I'm on my third Tesla now. I think I'm ready for a different brand. On board 200 says, I think PG&E is switching to time of use plan next year, and I think SMUD, that's our local Sacramento utilities company, I think they're doing the same. What do you think, time of use plan versus tiered electricity plan? Well, it depends, right? To me, I'm not a really good use case scenario because I work from home. So I run air conditioning all day long, and then I charge my car at night. So I'm kind of a 24/7 type of a user. So to me, I guess it almost doesn't really matter, because I can also charge my car during the day. I think I just need at some point to maybe commit to solar panels, Sean S says, I think Volkswagen ID brand is good looking line of EVs, and I'm a Tesla Performance Model 3 owner. Yeah, I think they are, and there are quite a few pictures. Let me see if I can. Well, I don't want to bother you guys with this because it will take me. I have some that I can show you, but they are good looking cars, and they're and Volkswagen does have interesting technologies as well because they spread out through a few luxury brands and Volkswagen brand as well. And they also have Lamborghini. So yeah, Tom says, can't wait to hear your Audi reports. Well, I have some requirements for them to kind of be on track for that. Because I believe it won't be until June when I'll be getting mine, it looks like. And they already delayed everything by 1 month because of some regulations, software update delay. But they need to continue being committed to this. There was also a step back where they announced that they're not going to showcase the e-trons at dealerships. I'm not okay with that. They need to figure out how to not be sort of embarrassed by this car, which is going to be the best car in their fleet. So I'm not okay with that. Vika says Elon has said recently that Tesla cars could have the ability to deliver themselves soon, but regulation is lagging. I wonder if the Model Y will be the first car to deliver itself. That's an interesting concept, obviously, and remember that even though Tesla has a lot of publicity about their self-driving technology, unfortunately, a lot of times not the good one. But they're not the leader in self-driving technology. Waymo is, and a couple of others. Even Uber might be. I mean, I know they had that unfortunate accident, but Uber and there are quite a few other companies. And there was a survey that just a few months ago, and Tesla ended up almost dead last. Yeah, Waymo is just about to launch a fleet of cars in Mountain View, California, here in the Bay Area, absolutely without drivers. Yeah, granted, it's a small area, but that's just how it's going to be done. They're going to 3D map everything. At least that's what I understand how the technology works. And yeah, and Tesla is like what? It's technically level 2 right now, maybe level 3. And they're even having problems rolling out the Navigate on Autopilot software, right? So no, I don't think it may not be Tesla who delivers their very first car autonomously. But at the same time, do you really want your car to be delivered that way? Because I mean, you want somebody to kind of go over the car with you, right? So I think a lot of people do prefer a service center experience rather than just like, here's your car, goodbye, you know? Robert Ems asks, is the Model S glass roof bulletproof from hail and rocks on highway? Well, I think hail, yes, but with rocks, how big are the rocks, right? Small ones, it looks that way, yes. As a matter of fact, I believe that glass roof is so hard when it was being tested for safety. I don't know if it was an Insurance Institute of Highway Safety or the other one, but essentially it crushed the machine that was pressing it down that's hitting it from the top. So I'm gonna assume really big rocks too. Scott says dealers make the bulk of their profit on a service. They may refuse to promote electric models. Well, yes, and that's why maybe automakers need to start thinking about direct sales just like Tesla has. I think Renault in Europe, they have separate showrooms just for the electric cars that their fleet, well, there's only like 3, right? And I think that's pretty smart. It's okay to maybe fork your business a little bit, literally go hybrid, if you will, until they figure something out. Or maybe, maybe they need to pay dealers a little bit more upfront, let them have a little bit more profit, and then later on have them, make less money on service. Though, yeah, I mean, I think it's a shame that there's the entire automotive business is relying on them making crappy cars, and most of the profits come from fixing the crappy cars that they make. Don't you think that something's wrong with it, and we should probably change that? So yeah, I think direct sales would be just fine by me. It's going to be a tough transition, but Kurt says, by the way, try to send your Tesla cars back in for repair soon. I heard on Like Tesla from Kim reported the car service time has improved recently to generally within 24 hours for body parts replacements. Okay, so I don't really watch Kim's channel really. It's not it's more like a vlog. I don't think it has that much information about Tesla per se, but I don't know, because don't forget, her and I and a few others, like when they know that we're YouTubers, we experience a little bit different service in that case. So maybe it improved for her, but I mean, I run a pretty large, Model S and Model 3 groups on Facebook. I think my total membership is like 30,000 members there. And I still see a lot of people complaining about making an appointment. And I mean, I needed something the other day, not the other day, maybe what, 2 months, 3 months ago. It was still, there was a wait. But I think the problem is not so much the wait for the appointment, it's the wait for the parts. And I hope they're improving that, but I haven't really heard anything. At the same time, when you don't hear anything, usually that's good news. So I don't have an update, but what I'm saying is just a report from a Tesla owner who's also a YouTuber. It may not be the most accurate source of information, is what I'm saying, I guess. Um, Scott says electric car owners are not trading in as early. Um, maybe that's the case. I mean, I think when you lease, like I lease. I mean, we only have what, about 3 years, so you can extend it for another half a year. So I'm at 3.5 years once I return my car. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think the leased cars will still get returned. But yeah, no, I mean, it's no surprise that people return cars maybe a little bit later because they don't break down as much. The electric ones. At the same time, like I would never recommend anybody driving a Tesla without warranty, and the warranty expires at some point. I think that's another thing to consider. So yeah, let's see. Maybe I should switch it like this. Is this better, or should I just keep the picture? By the way, I know if you're watching on this on your phone or on your computer, even if you're watching it in the replay, you can still see the chat. But I also have the chat here. Here. You can buy the car off the lease. Yes, but like it depends. As a matter of fact, then maybe, yeah, but then the whole point of the lease kind of gets ruined. Like in my case, my car will be probably worth less than what they want me to pay to them to buy it out, and it would be silly for me to do that, right? Hey, Evie Patty, how are you, man? So, Evie Patty actually just got a Hyundai Kona all electric, and he did a video about it on his channel in German, but he also did a version for us here for E4 Electric in English, and I'm going to be posting that video tomorrow. I actually got it all rendered and everything, so should be posting it tomorrow. So thank you so much, Patrick, for that. I really appreciate it. It's actually quite interesting. I've seen some other reviews of Kona EV, but his is really good because because he's driving it now every day. It actually comes from a perspective of someone who's like not so much like, well, what are the toys that it has, but was like, well, this is what's convenient every day for me, right? Because essentially that's what you want from your car. So that's going to be posted tomorrow. Scholar says, I don't know if you have owned an Audi before. I have not. But from my experience, the service is worse than Tesla service. I got to tell you, I've owned quite a few cars, not Audi, but I think almost any other brand. And I have never received worse service than Tesla on such regular basis as well, I mean, because, brands go up and down as far as the quality of product, quality of service, right? It varies from the area to area. And also don't forget, I run a message board, a forum on Facebook, and I see a lot of complaints about it. So it's not just me. For example, they don't give you loaners when your car is in the shop, but Tesla does. That would suck. But at the same time, I'm going to assume they don't break down as often. But interesting, I'll ask. Jonathan Stewart says, what do you think about Elon saying that no other car company is close to autonomous driving and they should reach it first? Elon says a lot of stuff that may not always be true. But I think what he meant is this. And this might be true because he's saying, listen, we're developing a system for self-driving cars that can drive anywhere. You throw it in any city in the world, pretty much, we're ready to go. You put it on Mars, which they might, we're ready to go. It is a true artificial intelligence type of a software. And that's why we might be a little bit behind. But let's say Waymo, they are relying heavily of like, well, what does this city look like? Like, let's 3D map everything. And we're going to rely on the maps, on the 3D maps, rather than on cameras and lidars and so forth. All we really need to do is recognize where we at inside the map, and then maybe add pedestrians and other cars. But overall, we are heavily relying on the data that we know about the area. At the same time, this is how universe works. So I don't really know why it's a bad solution. Obviously, it's not as good of the software, uh, but do we really care? I mean, we only have so many cities and so many buildings and so many roads that don't change very often. Obviously, those maps would be updated whenever stuff changes. Um, that may just not be that bad of a solution. But yeah, I mean, I believe in what he says, that he believes that they have a better overall software. But I think the strategy that, let's say, Waymo chose is just different. And I almost don't care. It either works well or it doesn't. And it looks like Waymo's working much better than Tesla's right now. That's what I'm saying. When do you think Tesla pickup truck going to release? What do you mean by release? You mean like announced? Production starts? Or you can actually buy it in Europe and China? I think we are. It's really hard to predict when it comes to Tesla, obviously, right? Um, we're 2 to 3 years away at the very least. You know, I'm going to be going to the LA Auto Show, and one of the biggest splash that I think is going to happen there is by the company called Reviver. Yeah, Reviver, Rivian. Crap, am I losing my mind? Hold on a second. Rivian. Why did I say Revival? Oh, I know why I said Revival. Anyway, Rivian. So I just did a segment on them, a whole video on Friday, I believe, because they're just about to unveil a pickup truck, all electric. They're claiming 450-mile range, in a higher end. Starts with 50,000. It will come either as a pickup truck or SUV. And they're not joking around, because they actually bought a factory a couple of years ago, I think, for like almost nothing from Mitsubishi. It used to be a Mitsubishi plant. And they've been pretty quiet. And they're just about to make a big splash while already having a factory. And I think they've been founded 9 years ago. So it was a pretty long road. And I think they just might be the very first company to come up with an all-electric in production pickup truck. Of course, I reported on Workhorse, which is a plug-in hybrid, really, if you would, it's all electric plus the BMW extender, and I think it's a 100-mile range. But these guys are actually not joking around, Rivian. So I'm excited to see that. I'll be there. I will definitely do a broadcast from there and probably bring some footage. Maybe talk to their CEO RJ. So that should be some good times. But new kid on the block, and this guy seemed to be very serious. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, Tesla's one. Don't forget, they got to figure out Model Y. They got to figure out what's going on with their Shanghai factory. Make sure that's on track, and they got to figure out where they're going to make these Model Ys and then the pickup truck in the U.S. because they need another factory, or I don't know, maybe need to free up some space in one of their gigafactories. I don't know. Mike asks, how is doing around 3 videos a day is working for you? Are they getting more views than maybe one video? Overall, they're getting a little less views because obviously not everybody wants to see every single video. But my total watch time and my total views for the day are definitely up. Again, it's up and down, but definitely up. And I don't mind. Like, I like doing this, and I end up actually having more material that way. 3 videos, average 7-8 minutes. So I end up with about a little over 20 minutes of material per day, where it used to be about 10 to 15. So, and people who want to get maybe a little bit more information on about one topic, they can, watch a relatively short video on that. And if they don't want to watch a video about something else, they don't have to. They're kind of now categorized. But I'm happy with it. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing this full time, so I wanna do the best job I can for you guys. Well, on board says, I mean, can I buy it in North America? And I gotta figure out. Oh, I'm sure pickup truck will be sold worldwide by Tesla. I just don't know when it's gonna be. I don't know if I'm answering your question. Nicolas says, problem with Waymo's way is when you have unexpected circumstances, detour, construction, etc. Yeah, and this is where maybe Tesla will do a better job, though I'm sure Google is not sitting on their hands either. They definitely looks like have maybe capable people to work on that. We'll see. I mean, we'll see, right? Uh, Rayhan 100 says, "Excuse me if this had already been addressed, but have you had a chance to test out track mode on the Performance 3? What did you think of it?" So here's about the track mode. First of all, I don't have a Model 3. Even if I had a performance Model 3, I don't really go out and do donuts in my backyard, or I don't go out racing. I don't know. I'm a 41-year-old dude. You know, I don't really race cars. I think this very for a very narrow audience that's into it. I'm not like I think a lot of people. So this, a lot of people, mentioned when the track mode came out, they said, "Wow, what a great feature that almost nobody will use." So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. As a matter of fact, Ryan McCaffrey, right? Ryan does the pretty much has the biggest Tesla-related podcast. It's unofficial Tesla podcast called Ride the Lightning. I think he just posted like saying, "Hey, so excited about a track mode. Probably will never use it." Because he has a beautiful red Performance 3 that I seen here recently when he came out to the racetrack in Sacramento. By the way, I was part of the Sacramento racetrack event and I didn't race my car because I just have no interest whatsoever. Sorry. Um, Scott asks, how many cars have you owned, seen, heard of that have more than 400,000 miles on them and still run? Not many. I'm not really sure what your point is, but yeah, the electric cars should have, you know, overall should be able to last for longer. I mean, just because there's like less stuff to break, right? Farouk Nassim says, what's the timeline for Model Y release and what about the anticipated range? I I really hope Elon goes back and actually decides to go with a Model Y being on top on the same platform and frame as Model 3. That was the original plan. Then he decided he was gonna do its own thing, and I really hope he's gonna be back where he started with the Model 3 being pretty much the same base for it. From what I understand, again, tell me what release is. They will probably announce it sometimes in the next half a year. And then it might be another year until they even start production, and then maybe another year until the production is even like ramped up to the point where you can kind of see some of them on the streets. So we're still talking about a couple of years away. Anticipated range, I would anticipate that it's exactly the same as Model 3 has. Maybe a little less because maybe it's going to be a bulkier car, but yeah, the same. EV Patty says sad thing is Waymo is years ahead, but it's still pretty pathetic. Just recently saw videos updated by a local. I don't know. I mean, let's see how their cars without drivers do, because that's pretty much ultimate autonomous driving, right? Where you don't even have a human inside. Let's see how they do. I'm excited about it, and to be honest with you, I'm not even in the rush. I love driving too, and nowadays the driving is so easy that you can pretty much listen to music. Like I have a lot of times I play YouTube clips that I don't need to watch, right? Could be music clips or somebody like I know people watch my show while driving because they just have to listen to it. So yeah, I don't like I'm not dying for that technology. Oh my God, I can't wait for autonomous cars. No, I'm perfectly fine now. I enjoy driving. Not today though. Today I almost got hit. Oh my God, I'm gonna post it probably on my social media. Got hit by a Prius today, and I don't know if the guy actually clipped me just very lightly, where like the scratches are just the dust. So, but I don't know. But the guy was this close of hitting me. I just, oh man, just not having a good time here in Sacramento. I gotta tell you, people just don't treat each other here with respect. I've noticed, like, I couldn't put my finger in why I can't, like, why am I not making friends here? Why I'm not dating here as much? And I realized people don't treat each other very well here. I have my guesses about why, but it's really rough so far. Um, Funhog 911 says asks when do you think you'll get your new Audi? Well, I'm hoping around June because I think that's when they're going to start delivering them here in the United States. And since I'm one of the first ones on the list, I'm expecting June. My Model S lease expires in March. I mean, I have my Volt that I can drive for a few months, but I hope there's not too big of a gap there. Um, EV Patty says, props, e-tron. There's been a long test in a Germany car show that was notoriously anti-EV, but they cherished the e-tron. E-tron is a great car. I'm telling you guys. I mean, there are quite a few of them that Audi already has, and they're testing them, and I think there's hundreds of them now. Um, and it does appear like it's going to be an amazing car. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let's see. EV Patty also says, yes, same platform as 3 is crucial. Also, they can quickly switch over production because demand for Model Y will be much higher. Yes, demand for Model Y is anticipated to be, higher because it's a compact SUV with a, you can put stuff on the back. And yes, that's exactly why I think they should base it on Model 3. A lot of it can be produced jointly on the same lines, right? And maybe just very few things on top will be put on. So yeah, no, absolutely. I would be very surprised if that's not the case, but I've been surprised before. Scott says the Y will be the most robot built of any vehicle. All wiring will be in solid bars to enable robot assembly. Well, don't forget, they already said a lot of very similar things about Model 3. As you remember, they could not figure out quite a few things. They realized that it's much better done by a human and probably much cheaper and faster. So they may also back out of that as well. But we'll see. Sean says, hey, Alex, I'm looking for Tesla batteries for a Powerwall project. If your viewers can help, I am in West Virginia. I've learned this, West Virginia. Well, there you go, guys. If you have some, well, I think your best bet would be going to the junkyard, right? Or body shops, Tesla body shops, and see which cars are being totaled, and you would just have to buy them, off of them. I don't know how that works, but I'm assuming that would be the case. Scott says the patent on the wiring system has been published. Well, one thing is having a patent, obviously, and sometimes companies patent stuff so the other company, their competitors, don't. That's a strategy. But patent is one thing, but actually doing it the whole different story. I mean, I was mentioning that they were gonna have Model 3 very, very automated. Remember? And then they realized, like, oh, we can figure out how a robot can grab a wire out of the box, right? So much better if we just hire someone for $15 an hour, which is kind of minimum wage around here, and they can do it much faster and cheaper, and we don't have to like have a bottleneck on that. They might just go ahead with that concept as well. Yeah. So we'll see. Obviously, Model 3 production is finally going well. Uh, and I know Elon said that, the pickup truck is his favorite, whatever project, but Model Y needs to come out. And I have a feeling that they might even try to come out with it, at least let us see it sooner rather than later, because, they haven't had one in a while. The last one, remember, it was the semi-truck launch that was stolen by Roadster launch. I'm always thinking like, maybe they should have just done them separately. I mean, yes, it was a great show, but the semi-truck on its own was such an amazing unveiling. They could have waited for another half a year or even a year. They could have unveiled the Roadster like now, and it would still be like, holy crap, this is amazing, right? That information, those stats and specs are still very, very amazing, even for now, to the end of 2018. So I don't know if they're regretting doing that. On the other hand, some people, me, I think that if they're going to do the Model Y launch, they just might try to outdo themselves and give us a sneak peek of the pickup as well. Yeah, that could happen. Scott says the explanation is the need for high bandwidth connections supporting 10 gigabyte from sensors. Vika says, Scott, do you have a link or a patent number? Okay, you guys figure that out. Mike says, do you know who the major investors of NIO are? You can easily Google that. I think some of their investors are Tencent, I think. I could be wrong. In Alibaba, maybe like just major Chinese companies. I mean, NIO is very well funded, but you can easily Google that. Um, Thomas Paul says, how much torque does the Model 3 have at 0 miles per hour versus 70 miles per hour? It's Googleable, definitely not off the top of my head. How can you measure that with just one gear compared to an ICE engine with a transmission and different size? This is a bit above my head. I don't know. I don't know how to figure those out or even how people do that. This is a very kind of a technical question, so I'm sorry, I just don't have an answer except for Google it. Sorry, I really don't know what else to tell you. Scott says the Y is due to be revealed in March 2019. Well, that's what kind of Elon suggested. I don't think he even like kind of said that. I think he just kind of suggested that is what's going to happen. Um, but I don't really know if he says one thing and then it gets delayed or it gets when we get a surprise. I mean, do you really? I don't know, man. It will happen when they send out when they send out the invitation saying come on over. Oh, actually, let's talk about the semi unveiling. Didn't they move that like 3 times? I remember because I got invited, and then I was like, "Oh, we're gonna move it, or we're gonna wait, and then we're gonna do this," and then they ended up moving it at least a couple of times, I think. So you don't even know when it's a month away and you have an invitation in your hands. And we're talking about half a year from now. I think they need to concentrate on just figuring things out for Model 3, making sure that they're still profitable in Q4, and they're well positioned into a Q1 of the next year, that their Shanghai factory is at somewhat starting to be operational sometime next year. I think they have plenty of things to worry about. I'm not really sure if Model Y launch, which is really going to be a marketing event, is really that important to them right now. But I just hope they really do base it on the Model 3. Quinta Speed asks, do you think Lucid Motors will be left behind by other new EV car companies, NIO and Rivian? Well, they just got $1 billion from Saudi Arabia public fund. Not sure how that's going to resonate, especially with the media at this point. I consider to be a journalist at this point, and I'm not okay with journalists being murdered when and that's being ordered by the head of state. And because that fund is they're pretty much controlled by him and their top government officials and representatives, whatever you want to call it. That money just got a little bit more blood on their hands, like literally. I don't know how people are gonna react to that. I'm thinking like, ugh, man, that's some bloody money there. At the same time, obviously, I want that company succeed, and if we go through all of the money that all of these companies get investments from China, you can probably find something bloody everywhere at this point, right? Because of the global economy, we don't control their politics, but they're here investing in other companies, and it's a really complicated issue, which I kind of brought up for no reason. Well, I guess for some reason, but no, I think Lucid Motors will. I just talked to their CTO, and that video is on my channel. You can search through my library. What it was a couple of months ago, and he basically said, "Listen, we promised to you guys within 24 months from us getting the funding, we will get this car out," and I think they will. I think they will. They kind of have everything lined up. They just need to hire a few more staff, especially senior staff, and then get this going, because their competitive advantage actually is not so much the technology. It's how luxurious the car is. And he just flat out admitted to me on camera. Well, not that it was a secret, but I'm just saying that's what they believe their competitive advantage is. And I missed luxury. I mean, I've been driving a Tesla for a while now. I miss luxury. That's one of the reasons I want to switch to e-tron, because I know the build quality and the luxury of the interior is definitely going to be a step up. And so yeah, I think they will be fine if that deal doesn't go down in flames like with Faraday Future, for example. I think they should be fine. Sean S says, "Hey Alex, have you heard anything about the $5,000 refund for the Performance Model 3 owners?" I have not. I've heard that people have not gotten it yet. If you have one, which looks like you do, have you contacted your salesperson? Because that's where it should be coming from. What is your opinion of the Polestar 2? Asks Christian. So I have seen Polestar 1 in person in Monterey Car Week. Got a pretty good look. Also had an interview with one of their managers, one of their, I think, marketing guys. Also, it's on my channel, dedicated video. So I can't speak for Polestar 2, but it is a Volvo brand. So it's well built. It has the network of Volvo dealers and service centers, the money for sure, and the technology. So I'm looking forward to the Polestar 2. Now it can be at $155,000 like the Polestar 1, and the production needs to be just a little bit higher. But I'm excited. Let's get that thing rolling already. I just, they haven't really been talking about it, but yeah, let's see it. Rayhan 100 says, Alex, do you see any manufacturer that would be able to compete with Tesla on their charging network anytime soon? Well, I've done quite a few videos about this. It's not going to be the car manufacturer that actually is going to do that. So there are two alternatives that are just starting to build up in the next year or two. They will certainly provide a very good alternative. One is the Electrify America here in the United States. They're going to be opening quite a few of those, and I've covered them. And I also just had an interview with their director of marketing and communications, I believe. So check it out on my channel. And in Europe, it's Ionity. Now, Volkswagen Group has its hands in both. Volkswagen Group is one of the investors in Ionity, and I have an interview with their communications guy, Paul, on my channel. So check that out. Just also within the last month or so. And they will be covering Europe in their fast charging stations much faster than superchargers. Actually, those will charge to up to 350 kilowatts, actually, compared to Tesla's 120, if you're lucky, right? Obviously, the fastest possible charge availability right now is for the Audi e-tron at 150. So those charging stations can be at 350 all they want. It's just there won't be a car to actually take that, at least for now. So now, Volkswagen Group is an investor in Ionity, along with, I think, BMW, Daimler, Ford. I always forget Ford, and a couple of others. That's in Europe. And here, Electrify America is fully owned by Volkswagen Group, but they're almost by regulation setting independent company, because remember, Electrify America is part of the sort of punishment for the Dieselgate, and it has a separate budget that has a separate goals, and it cannot operate for the benefit of Volkswagen Group. It is supposed to be just for benefit of the earth. So those are the two alternatives to the fast charging networks, but they're not really per se being controlled by an automaker. Let's see. Who will bring the first EV truck to market? Tesla, Ford, March 1 program, Workhorse, Bollinger, or Rivian? Well, I think, Thomas, the answer is Rivian, and you will have it in about 2 weeks at the LA Auto Show, and I will be there live to report it for you guys. So, yeah, I think that's going to be Rivian. 2020 is when they're saying they're going to be delivering them, and they have the factory already. Let's see. Sean S. asks, any news on Faraday Future? I already called it, guys. I already called that FF91 is dead. I don't think it will ever see the light of day. Yes, I know there's a Bitcoin or whatever, the cryptocurrency type of a company is willing to put another $1 billion. Faraday Future is denying that. They're offering 900 million, even though the Hong Kong court is only approved it for 500 million. There's more shady stuff, but what I'm saying is it comes down to their CEO, YTJ, whatever. That guy is a crook, from what I understand. He has ran this company into the ground now twice, and it looks like everybody blames him for just mismanaging everything. Unless some new guy comes in, new investor comes in, kicks him out, installs a superstar CEO and who can manage this company, yes, they will probably can survive, but I think FF91 would have to be reworked, or they will go belly up, which I think is actually going to happen, and then someone will buy the IP and maybe make some other car or cars out of the parts of that. But I don't think FF91 will see a light of day ever at this point. Rekha Williams says, I love Tesla. I hope I read it right. But what about the Hyundai Kona EV? Well, Rekha, you're in luck here. First of all, EV Patty is in the chat room right now, and he owns one. He's one of the first ones to own one over there in Europe. You're in Germany or Norway, Patrick? I'm sorry, I forget. But I know you speak German, but I thought you were. Sorry. Old man's brain right here and horrible memory. So he just did a review of his Hyundai Kona EV after driving it for a while. And guess what? I'm featuring it on my show tomorrow. Like, I think 10 minutes of really good stuff, digging in, showing you exactly what your everyday benefits are. He likes it better than Model 3. And actually, the things that he points out, yeah, they're maybe not flashy, but they're much more useful than what Model 3 has to offer. Now, granted, there are things that Model 3 offers that maybe Hyundai Kona cannot, but so watch it. It's going to be released tomorrow. I'm literally uploading it after I'm done with this show and maybe go roller skating. And then you guys will be able to see it. Great, really nicely done by Patrick. So, and if you have any questions, obviously you can ask him. And if you speak German, he has a German version as well. I think it's a little bit more extended. So, but yeah, I think Hyundai Kona and its sister, I guess, car, Kia Niro EV, are definitely going to give Tesla the run for their money. They kind of quietly rolling it out. Hyundai Kona is already being sold in Europe and Korea and other parts of the world. North America, I think, beginning of next year. It's priced in low 30s. After incentives even goes under 30. Obviously, they've been making Kona plug-in hybrid and Niro plug-in hybrid for a while. So they kind of got this car. They've been making this car for a while. Now, this is not a premium car. This is just your average, I think, good car. But it's a compact SUV, right? It's a crossover SUV. And a lot of people, I think, are going to jump on it. There are reports that Hyundai may not be, making enough of them, but hopefully that's just not true. I hope they're really gonna kick butt with it. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be part of the major part of this whole electric car revolution going into the next year. Sean Henry asks, Alex, you should wait. Oh, he says, I guess he states, Alex, you should wait till the next generation Model S is out before jumping ship. I'm sure Tesla is working on something that is going to blow us away. Sean, I am pretty sure, as a matter of fact, I think Model S right now and Model X are the best cars in the universe ever made. That's not the reason why I'm thinking about switching to Audi. It is that there's a product and there's an ownership experience. And you can say that about almost any product, right? So for example, there's this juice that I like. It's just really, really delicious juice. But they only sell it at the store where I don't like going there. And when I do go there, sometimes they're out of stock. So my experience has been in a crowded store that's not conveniently located, where sometimes I don't even have it on a shelf, where the staff is rude to me sometimes. All of that ownership experience is not worth getting the product that is much better than the juices that I buy at Safeway. But my Safeway experiences are great. Open 24/7. I can shop there at 2 o'clock in the morning. The staff has been mainly nice to me. I can shop for anything else there as well. That stuff is always on the shelf. I've never had to say, hey, where's the stuff, right? So because of the ownership experience, I choose to have a product that maybe not as good as the good one, the really good one. But overall ownership experience to me is more important. And of course, if we're talking about cars, and we're also talking about it as service, and I've had also really bad experience with Tesla service throughout the last few years. So that's what's making me switch, not the car itself. I hope that makes sense. I keep stressing it a lot. People say, well, why do you think Audi e-tron is a better car? It's not a better car. It's good enough for me to try a different ownership experience. I hope that makes sense. Wait, you guys are typing too fast. I'll wait for used Model 3 for 25,000, says the Silver GT. Hey, that's also you might actually end up finding a used Model S for 25,000 before you'll find a used Model 3 for 25,000. So I'm not even joking. Scott says, listening to this demonstrates how important it is to get Alex funded so he can hire staff and cover everything. Well, Yes, I think I can definitely. I've already been doing more, obviously, because I went full time. I'm barely kind of breaking even right now, and this is why I moved to Sacramento, because this I own a house. I own a small house here, so I don't have to pay rent or mortgage, just taxes. So even with that, I'm kind of barely breaking even, but I'm already producing more, and I'm just able to make more connections that will and network a little bit more, which will produce more stuff in the future. And anybody who contributes, I definitely really appreciate it, because you guys contributing through Patreon is definitely just a direct support. You even watching videos, right? You guys sit through the pre-roll and those commercials. I get paid from that as well. And because people watch, and companies like Avanex and Climate Exchange and others, do sponsor my show. Not Again, not making enough to make it a real salary yet, but good enough to break even. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys supporting me. And again, my job is to make sure to deliver the real news, unbiased news to you guys, no matter how much sometimes you don't like it. That's unfortunately not. That's fortunately my job, is that I'm not trying to make you guys happy. I'm trying to make you guys informed. And I do give my opinion, not to convince you guys, but to give you a different perspective. So maybe you'll continue to disagree with me, but you will feel better about your decisions, or maybe we'll be able to solidify a decision, even if it's the opposite of mine. That's my goal. I don't preach. This is not a church. I don't preach. You should buy an Audi e-tron. I'm saying that for me, Audi e-tron seems to be a better choice for my next car. You should consider it, but you can also say, Alex, I've considered it. Thank you so much. I decided not to do it. I'm going to go with something else. And I'll be really happy as long as it's an electric car. Hope that makes sense. Any chance Tesla that would acquire Faraday Future, asks Sean. I don't think there's anything they want from Faraday Future. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I can, Faraday Future needs to go belly up and really auction off their IP for cheap, and then we'll see who'll need it and what it even is. But I think Tesla is ahead of Faraday Future, so I don't think they need anything from it. I can see Ford or Honda or Toyota trying to grab something there, but yeah, I definitely think that Tesla may not need anything at all. The first super chat, all right, from Thomas Paul at $13.99 Canadian. I don't know how much it is in American, but interesting. What does that mean, 13.99? Is that a particular lucky number? Or I love the number 13 actually. All right, so Thomas says, are you aware that Tesla said in the beginning about helping other EV brands? Yes. I mean, they're not so much helping, that they're rooting for them, and they essentially want the electric car technology to spread around the world. Granted, it's a little weird because they are a public company and they're supposed to not do that. And we're in capitalist society here where they're trying to make it as a business. So I don't know how much of it is just kind of publicity or anything like that, but I do think that Elon actually does believe it in his heart. I'm just not really sure if he's allowed almost to do that, because he is supposed to make this company profitable. Thomas goes on and says, recently Bollinger asked Elon in a tweet if they could use their superchargers. Elon did not answer. Please go get word out. Well, so here's the thing. I think as a business, it would be silly for Tesla to do it. I, as a customer, would be absolutely against it, because there's not always enough stalls sometimes at the current superchargers, and supercharger locations are not growing as fast as the fleet of new Model S, Model X, and of course Model 3s. I think that we're going to have lines once again like we had a year or two ago at the superchargers, which only extends the already long wait to refuel your car. So I don't see how Teslas would just say, oh yeah, here, take our already overcrowded or crowded, superchargers. So our customers who paid for this will be even more inconvenienced. I just don't see it happening. But I don't know if Elon did not reply to him, but I remember Elon making a general statement that they're open to other manufacturers coming in and pinching in for new locations. But I would be against it and I think a lot of people would really just not like that. Robert M, another $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. You guys are really showering me with cash here. You know, I appreciate it. And again, I appreciate the support. This money goes to my electric bill, grocery bill, and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Um, Rekka Williams says that EV Patty, I'm seriously considering getting the Kona. Thank you. Rekka, if you decide to pull the trigger, definitely let us know. I would like to obviously know your opinion once you get it. Comparing, oh, she said, oh, I'm sorry, it was him. Also comparing the model, sometimes we don't know if it's a guy or girl, sorry, but I'm judging by picture, I think it's a guy. Also comparing the Model 3 mid-range versus Kona EV, how do you think they stack up against each other? Watch the video tomorrow. George B says, I hope the new charging network will come here in Manitoba, Canada as well. We still don't have an operational Tesla supercharger here, only some destination chargers. Now, Electrify America does have Electrify Canada branch, and I think they just started, so you're going to have to wait a little bit. I'm sure the priority is like California and some other busy areas in the United States, but there is Electrify Canada. Maybe check out their website. I believe their website should have at least like upcoming locations and maybe possible rollout dates. So check out their website. EV Patty says, do not exaggerate. Yeah, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek because Model 3 gets hyped so much. Vika says, Bjorn drove the Kona for quite a long time, but much preferred the Nero EV. I got the plug-in hybrid Nero EV the day I could a month ago and can't wait to upgrade to the Nero all electric. I did test drive the Nero plug-in hybrid. I have to say I wasn't really that impressed. I mean, good try. And the reason I kind of test drove it was mainly because I really wanted to see what the Nero EV is going to be like, because it's going to be pretty much almost the same. Okay, again, I have to admit I don't watch Bjorn a lot. Only when he really tests something that no one else tested before. Just not my cup of tea. It's just the videos like are a little too long for me, and yeah, so sorry. But I do know he makes some interesting videos, and I just watched the one about the e-tron that he made. Actually, that's the one that I watched because he actually brought up a bunch of interesting points that I didn't see when I checked it out, and my time with the e-tron was very limited, and he actually caught some very, very interesting features. I'm talking about Bjorn. Let's see. I did meet Bjorn in person one time, but he wasn't really friendly, so I really didn't have any conversations with him. And I remember I was trying to participate in his live chat one day, and apparently he banned me for some reason. And I don't think, whenever I comment on other YouTubers, it's always to contribute knowledge. I never troll anybody. So that was weird as well. I don't know what's going on with him, but odd. Again, I wish everybody in this industry would be a little bit more. I have other friends who are YouTubers in different spaces, and everyone's just so close there. Everyone's collaborating. Everybody knows each other. They're friends. And then somehow this tiny little niche, so many other YouTubers are so not cool to other YouTubers. Well, what are you gonna do? It's very unfortunate. I know I mentioned this before. Kurt says it's ironic and a shame Tesla bought diesel truck company to ship their EVs across the USA. I sure wish they had only shipped them with the electric semi trucks instead. Would have been awesome. Yeah, this would have been awesome. But here's the thing, Kurt. Those cars were going to be shipped in the diesel trucks no matter what, right? So this was not about diesel versus electric. This was more like we need to get them out fast, and we want to control the pace in the delivery times. The only thing I'm surprised they haven't done it earlier, but to me, that wasn't about more or less diesel trucks on the road. That's just how it is right now. The revolution has to move slowly and from like this to the top. Let's see. All right, you guys are discussing Kona. That's pretty cool. Robert M says, why can't you jump an electric car with jumper cables like a gas car? Well, so the way it works, there's a main battery that powers your powertrain, but it also has a 12-volt battery, at least most electric cars do, that is responsible for like some basic stuff, and that can run out of energy as well. So the jump starting is for that battery that doesn't really is not really responsible for the electric powertrain. And don't forget the jump starting, you're not starting the battery, you're starting the starter, I think. I don't know much about ICE cars anymore, and not that I ever have. So that when you jump start a car, it goes to the whatever electric part of the motor, I believe, that gets the motor going, and not the actual battery. I mean, I know you hooked it up with a battery, but that's what it uses the energy from what I understand. But either way, charging, jump starting the 12-volt battery in an electric car is not really going to transfer to the being able to use that energy to power the car. And by the way, that energy is just not enough to even move it an inch. You basically have to jump start it from a charger, from a supercharger. Hope that makes sense. Let's see. I'm a little behind in your comments, sorry. Sean says, I'd love to say that my ownership experience has been radically different from me here in Toronto, Canada. My wife has an A7, which is an Audi, and the ownership experience from Audi has been horrible. Well, again, I don't think it's going to get any worse for me, at least. Again, I'm not really sure what else Tesla can do to make me unhappier overall. So even if I move to another bad experience, that won't make it worse. I am hoping for a better one. And again, and I'm going to try, and we're going to see. Maybe I'll come back and say, guys, you know what? I made a horrible mistake. I want the Tesla back, right? Or I might say, you know what? Didn't work out with Audi. Not wanting to go back to Tesla. I'm going to try Porsche or some other company, right? And maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm not a brand loyal guy. Like, I mean, I will be loyal to a brand if you're treating me well, but overall, I am loyal to the technology. I'm loyal to the electric car concept, and not to a brand. Even when, and I'm sure at some point, a car company, auto manufacturer will sponsor my channel at some point. I guarantee you that when that happens, if and when that happens, hold on a second. I ran out of my cough drops, and I'm almost running out of my tea, so I'm gonna have to jam soon. But even when that happens, I will make sure, and it's going to be in their best interest anyway, that their sponsorship will have nothing to do with my reporting. I will still have their logo. I will tell you guys about their company and what they want to promote, and what, and I will feature their products, but it will no way affect the way I'm going to be talking and reporting on them or other companies. There's no way in hell, let's just say Mercedes sponsored my channel, they're going to say, listen, if you can just talk a little bit of crap about Tesla, not going to happen. Same thing with if Mercedes-Benz is going to do something, stupid or whatever, I'm going to totally call them out. And unless that they agree to that clause in the contract where I'm going to have 100% journalistic independence, I'm not going to have a car brand sponsor me. So that's just, so I'm not a brand loyal guy. I am concept loyal guy and integrity and honesty loyal guy. Rayhan 100 says, keep up the great work, Alex. You're extremely knowledgeable and helpful. Thank you so much. A lot of my knowledge comes from you guys. In this case, for example, tomorrow my knowledge will come from EV Patty and his experience with Hyundai Kona EV. A lot of times you guys change my mind. You sometimes shape my opinion. Sometimes I will be like, a lot of people are experiencing something different than I am. Maybe I should look into it. Like I used to be all about Tesla, right? Then I used to be all about all electric cars, no plug-in technology accepted. But then I was like, you know what? It looks like in the real world, where not everybody can afford Tesla, plug-in hybrids, if they're good and with a decent range, that's the way to go. So you guys have actually shaped my opinion a lot, and I really appreciate it. Not that I'm a pushover. You have to definitely convince me, but a lot of the knowledge comes from you guys, and I really do appreciate that. Let's see. George asks, will a Tesla Ranger come to your house to repair your car even if you don't have a garage? Yeah, I had it done on the parking lot of my office when I had a full-time job. Well, I have a full-time job. When I worked for a company before that, I won't say the name. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, hopefully it's not raining, but even if it's raining, they should be able to figure it out. Yeah. Mike Davis asks an interesting question. I don't know how to answer it. What is the best electric car for a homosexual couple? I don't know if a car ownership experience would be any different for a homosexual couple than heterosexual couple or a single person. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. Interesting question, actually. Like I've never thought about it. How would it be different? Yeah, I'm a little stumped on that one. So, yeah. So Launchpad Astronomy is asking the same thing. Uh, Mike, now I'm looking at your answer here, and I don't know if it's appropriate. And secondly, I hope you're not trolling. I mean, I've seen you here before, so I don't think you're a troll, but let's just wrap that conversation up then. Interesting question, but unfortunately, you weren't serious about it, so I'm just gonna keep going. But please, let's not do that. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see. Do you think, Nicolas asks, do you think 350 kilowatt charging is enough for long trips? If my math are right, it will be likely refueling 26 kilometers per minute in a Model S. Um, well, it's going to be a while until we really even have an answer. Or, I mean, so it depends on the battery. I mean, by then we might have solid state batteries, and that will go like that at 350 kilowatts, right? And even with lithium ion batteries, it really does depend on the battery how fast it's going to charge, right? So that there's no good answer there, but I mean, if it's and I don't know if it's going to be charging at 16 miles per minute. Yeah, I think it might be a little faster for some technologies at least, but I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to answer that. I don't think anybody really can answer because which battery? Um, Jim asks, in California, do you get a special EV electric rate from the local utilities? Okay, so these things are kind of local. Like, for example, where I live right now, we have a Sacramento utilities company. I just moved from the Bay Area where it was all PG&E except for one city, which is Santa Clara, and that's where I lived. It's at its own utility company, and so they offer different incentives. Like I think most of them would offer like $600 in like blank, well, not blank check, in the just regular check to you when you buy an electric car. They do have this charging at night rates. Like when I talked to them when I was moving in, I said, hey, I asked them the same question, and they said, well, we don't have. Well, they said, yeah, we do, but it's really essentially comes down to having a lower rate at night. And I think now they kind of going to be forcing everybody into like rates depending on the consumption and the time of day when they're doing that. So they're not specifically for electric cars, but they do have now what do you call tiers, I guess. Um, let's see. Robert asks, how do you keep your cars clean during lease? To be honest with you, a lease ownership really is not that much different. I mean, you just can't modify the crap out of the car that voids a warranty. But like, I still tint windows, and my wheels are powder coated, and I have some aftermarket accessories. Perfectly fine. A lot of times I sell my car before the lease is over and give the bank their money. That's what I did with my last Tesla and a Tesla before that. No, that wasn't even a lease. But yeah, I usually sell those cars before. But I mean, you just watch them. Is that? I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. Yes, Launchpad Astronomy. I'm just surprised. I normally would ban him right away, but I've seen him here before, so I thought he was a regular viewer. So I don't know. All right, let's just leave that alone for now. George asks, do you think the Model 3 or S is better? Is the S worth the price tag? So here's the thing. I think Model S is better. I mean, I think Model X is probably best. But yeah, I think Model S is better. It's just because of the larger monitor and much larger one. The actual display in front of you, to me, that is very important. Just that is worth it. Yes, there are some technologies that somehow Model 3 has like track mode, for example, that Model S doesn't. But do you really care? Like, are you really gonna do donuts in the Model S? Not really sure if people want to do it in Model 3. But even door handles. Like right now, I just did a report based on what Fred from Electric kind of discovered all these people complaining about the door handles being frozen shut in the colder areas now that the weather is changing. And he came out and tried it with his own Model 3 and couldn't get in, or charging port wouldn't open. So I just think Model S is just a better car. And obviously it's bigger. It's a hatchback, which is another big benefit, which a lot of people enjoy. I think it's better looking. Whether it's worth the money, listen, it's a question that nobody can answer, because if nobody can answer, it's your money, first of all, and secondly, you know, um, a lot of times you pay for the last 10 or 20% of technology and luxury with like 50 extra percent of the price tag, right? So, like, to me, it's important that I drive this car because this is my life. This is what I report on. This is, I'm a big supporter for as long as I can afford it, which I don't know how long really. Like right now, I couldn't afford to get a new Model S, right? I think I need to get a little bit of couple more sponsors on my channel before I can do that. So, but if you're very comfortable and you don't care what's a $60,000 car, a $100,000 car, then yeah. And I'm not really sure if comparing price is a fair question. If you would have asked me which one is better as far as getting your money worth, then I would say Model 3. But if you're comparing two cars, then definitely Model S. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hope that's fair. Oh, another super chat. Sean S. Thank you so much, Sean. $10. He says, went on a road trip today and love supercharging for free parking under the Sheets gas station sign that says $2.65 per gallon. Not too many EVs in West Virginia, so I get noticed a lot, and questions and amazing responses. I remember good old days, Sean, when like I got mine at the end of 2012. And I would drive around, and every time I would come back, it would be on a parking lot of a, grocery store, and people would be like, it would be surrounded. People would be taking pictures, asking me questions. Took me 20 minutes to get groceries, another 30 minutes to leave, right? I used to carry like brochures from the service centers to give it out to people. And even like in the last few years when I went to Santa Cruz, which is kind of a tourist kind of city, people would come up and take pictures and stuff like that because that would be their first Tesla they would see. But yeah, I used to drive on the freeway. I'm sure you may be experiencing it even now, right? People will like try to chase you and like take a picture of you. It's kind of fun. And you kind of become an ambassador for the technology, so it's pretty cool. Just don't be a jerk to everybody, right? We want to be nice. Let's see. Oh, Artyom, how are you? How are you? Haven't talked to you in a while. Any news on the federal rebate? I haven't heard any timeframes on when it can get extended. It may not, man. I mean, we just got the election done with, right? Now we have split houses, a split Congress. I don't know. Well, they just compromised. It looks like they're gonna pass the prison reform, right? So that's some bipartisan encouraging news. I don't know if they're going to do it with green energy and green technology. Don't forget, Trump would have to sign it, and I'm not really sure how cool he is with this. I mean, he's here in California now, instead of maybe talking about, possible maybe, climate change, he's talking about how we don't trim our bushes. So I'm not really that hopeful. So I think the federal rebate will stay. I just don't think anything will change. And you know what? I think Tesla really doesn't almost need it anymore, especially by the time we'll be fully phased out. So I think for now it's fine. And I think Nissan and GM are still about a year away from when theirs are going to be phased out. So I'm not really sure if that's that important anymore for the success of the industry. And to be honest with you, I don't think Tesla cares either. If you look at the base price of a Model S, it went up in price by like $10,000 since it was introduced. So they've been the ones jacking up the price for the Model S. So it looks like they're perfectly fine with people, and people are perfectly fine for paying for it. So yeah, it might just not make that much of a difference. I'm bored 200 says ask when do you, Sean asks, thank you for super chat again. I'm bored 200 ask, when do you think Tesla Model S will get the Model 3 batteries? That's a good question. When will it get some of the Model 3 technology, which is kind of annoying, right? In some cases, but I don't know. I really don't know. I would have thought by now it would, but from what I remember from the earnings calls, Elon said that they will continue kind of two separate technologies. So that's all I know. I'm sure it also depends on Panasonic and the Gigafactory, but I don't have a better answer than that, unfortunately. Jiu-Jitsu Boy 730 says that money goes towards your purchase. I don't know why was it a question for me? I'm lost. Sorry, I didn't understand that comment. Robert M says, you think if Volkswagen releases the cheaper electric cars, will Tesla lower their prices? No. So essentially, if we're talking about Volkswagen, not the Volkswagen Group, the parent company, Volkswagen is not a premium brand. Tesla is a premium brand. So they don't need to compete with Volkswagen. So also, we don't know what that Volkswagen car is going to be. It probably will be an updated e-Golf with a better range. It's not going to be as good and have as many, cool technologies as Model 3. So the Model 3 will be very much worth it. Yeah, so no, I'm definitely not. Marcus says, hi from Argentina. How are you? Sorry, I'm late. That's okay. It's an hour and 30 minutes. Wow. Sorry, I'm late. Family issues. I hope everything's okay. Later, I will see from the beginning, which is probably my cue to start wrapping it up because it is almost 7 o'clock here. I have a couple of things I have to do, including uploading the video for tomorrow where Evie Patty is reporting and doing really a full review for the Hyundai Kona, which is really cool. And once again, thank you. In the next few weeks, I probably won't be doing this Hangouts. I might just do one here and there during the week, maybe. But I for now, this might be, it for a while. We'll see. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. It was fun. It's just also my voice is going, and all the smog is making it, my already weak voice is even worse, and my honey tea and my cough drops are all gone. So let's see. Yeah. Well, thank you for you guys hanging out with me. Thanks for all the questions. Thank you for the super chats and all the kind words. Obviously, I'll be back tomorrow with 3 more videos. On Tuesday, I will probably be doing the media day at the San Francisco Auto Show. We'll probably stream live at least once. I'm not sure if there's going to be news there, but definitely something interesting to report. I think there will be a bunch of Tesla owners kind of representing Tesla brand. I don't think it's actually going to be to Tesla, but yeah, I'm definitely very excited about it. But definitely tomorrow is still going to be here in the studio. The quality of air should be improving just a little bit, so I'm excited about that. All right, thank you for hanging out with me, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.